challenging assumptions and raising a mystery. Ask almost any small business owner where their income comes from, and you'll hear a familiar answer. Sales, customers, hard work. It sounds obvious, logical, almost too simple. But here's the uncomfortable mystery. If income truly came from sales and hard work alone, then why do two small businesses selling similar products, working similar hours in similar markets, end up with wildly different incomes? Why does one grow steadily while the other stays stuck? Even though both owners are exhausted, busy, and constantly working on the business? The truth is unsettling. Most small business owners are working very hard, while misunderstanding where their income actually comes from. And until that misunderstanding is cleared, growth feels random, stressful, and fragile. To uncover the real source of small business income, we have to strip away comforting myths and trace the story back to its origins. Setting the stage, a brief history of small business income. Small businesses didn't always look the way they do today. Historically, most small businesses were simple operations. A craftsman, a shopkeeper, a local service provider. Income was direct. You made something, give someone paid, you gives, income followed. There were no complex systems, no marketing funnels, no platforms. The owner was the business. In that world, income truly came from skill, reputation, local demand. But over time, markets expanded, competition increased, and systems became layered. And that's where the story begins to twist. Origins. When income was direct and personal. In the early stages of small business history, income was tightly connected to effort. If you worked more, you served more customers, you produced more goods, you earned more money. Cause and effect were visible and immediate. This created a powerful belief that still exists today. If I just work harder, income will increase. And at first, that belief works. In the early days of any small business, effort does increase income. The owner is the bottleneck, and removing that bottleneck creates growth. But this phase is temporary. Most businesses don't fail here, they get stuck later. The rise, when systems begin to matter. As a small business grows, something subtle changes. The owner adds more customers, more products, more responsibilities. At this stage, income still rises, but more slowly. Why? Because the business starts shifting from a skill-based system to a structure-based system. Here's the first major twist. Income stops coming primarily from what you do and starts coming from how things are arranged. Many owners don't notice this shift. They stay focused on tasks instead of systems. Sales increase. Workload explodes. Income rises, but stress rises faster. This is the busy but fragile phase, and it leads directly to the breaking point. Breaking point: why growth suddenly stalls. Every small business eventually hits a moment that feels confusing. Revenue looks decent. Customers exist. Demand is real. But income stops growing meaningfully. The owner asks, why am I always busy but not ahead? Why does more effort produce smaller returns? Why does growth feel harder now than before? This is not a motivation problem. It's a structural one. At this stage, income is no longer limited by effort. It's limited by leverage. And here's the critical insight most owners miss. Small business income does not primarily come from sales volume. It comes from margin, repeatability, and control. When these are missing, growth stalls even with strong demand. Cause and effect, the real drivers of income. Let's slow down and follow the cause and effect chain. Many owners believe more customers gives more work, gives more income, but in reality, the chain looks like this. Better positioning gives better margins, gives predictable demand, gives scalable income. Income follows structure, not activity. This is why two businesses with similar revenue can have drastically different income. One owner controls price and costs, customer lifetime value systems. The other controls only effort, hours, stress, same sales, different income. Fallout, common reactions that make it worse. When income stalls, most small business owners respond instinctively. They lower prices to attract more customers. They add more services, they work longer hours, they chase new platforms and tactics. These moves feel productive, but often they dilute income further. Why? Because they treat income as a volume problem instead of a design problem. More complexity increases workload. Lower prices reduce margin. More services fragment focus. Income doesn't grow, it leaks. This is how businesses stay busy for years without becoming truly profitable. Failed fixes: why popular advice doesn't solve it. Common advice sounds like, just sell more, scale fast, be everywhere online. add multiple income streams, but scaling a broken structure multiplies its weaknesses. If margins are thin, scaling amplifies stress. If systems are weak, growth creates chaos. If positioning is unclear, marketing becomes expensive. The advice fails not because it's wrong, but because it's incomplete. It skips the question, where does income actually come from? Delayed answer, the true source of small business income. Here is the delayed answer most owners never hear clearly. Small business income comes from captured value, not activity. Captured value is created when you solve a specific problem clearly, you price based on value, not effort. You create repeatable demand, you reduce dependency on your personal time. Sales initiate income, but systems determine how much of that value you keep. This is why some businesses earn more with fewer customers. Modern parallels, repeating patterns today. Look at today's small business landscape. Subscription models outperform one-time sales. Niche businesses outperform generalists. Businesses with clear positioning out-earn busy competitors across industries. The pattern repeats. Income flows toward. Predictability, leverage, control, not toward. Exhaustion. Constant hustle, endless customization. This is not accidental. It's structural. Shocking comparison. Same revenue, different income. Consider this scenario. Business A. High revenue, thin margins, owner works constantly. Income feels unstable. Business B. Moderate revenue, strong margins, fewer customers, income is predictable, same market. Different structure. This reveals the uncomfortable truth. Revenue is vanity. Income is design. Why this keeps repeating? The reason this pattern repeats across generations of small businesses is simple. Activity is visible. Structure is invisible. Effort feels productive. Design feels slow. So owners default to what they can see, tasks, sales, hours. But income responds to what's hidden, systems, pricing, positioning. Until that's addressed, growth remains fragile. 3 clear takeaways. Takeaway number 1. Income comes from structure. Not busyness. Activity creates movement, not necessarily profit. Takeaway number 2. Margin is more powerful than volume. A small improvement in margin often outperforms massive sales growth. Takeaway number 3. Predictability is an income multiplier. Repeat customers and repeat systems stabilize and grow income. Warning, open-ended thought. Here's the quiet warning. In the long run, a business built only on effort becomes dependent on exhaustion. The question isn't, how hard are you working? The question is, what is your business designed to capture? Because income doesn't reward motion, it rewards structure. Natural call to action. If you want to understand income, business, and money beyond surface-level advice, subscribe to the channel. And leave a comment below. What do you think actually limits small business income the most? Sales, pricing, or systems? Because once you understand where income really comes from, you stop chasing growth blindly and start building it intentionally.